You're welcome once again at Apex Biology, where we are going to carry out a revision and explanation on our series of answers and explanation to questions of past WASSCE examination questions in objective test for May-June 2017. So are you preparing for this examination? Let us see how we can assist you to understand why answers are correct and why some answers are not correct, and also why additional options can be used to also guide you to know how other questions can come out of that as you study additional past question papers. Welcome once again. Before you continue our lesson, hit that subscribe button at Apex Biology so that you can get additional information on the specific content that we have actually carried along. Happy learning. Let's go ahead without much waste of time to our question for today. And our question for today is question number 7. Question number 7 says, and it reads, the organism that carry out both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition is A. Chlamydomonas, B. Eudorina, C. Euglena, and D. Spirogyra. Definitely, as we said, understanding question is key to being able to answer these questions. Now, remember that as we are navigating through this, if we don't understand the meaning of the word autotrophic, and we don't know the meaning of the word heterotrophic, definitely we cannot attempt this question. So let's look at the word autotrophic. Autotrophic nutrition, it simply means ability, in fact, process. It's a process where green plants make own food. They make their own food. All right? It's a process where green plants make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. All right? That means sunlight is involved. So we are talking of autotrophic nutrition. It occurs in plants, and plants make their own food, and it of course involves a process of photosynthesis. Do not forget that this particular process of autotrophic nutrition involves an organelle in plant that is called chloroplast. It is this chloroplast organelle in plant cells that will produce the green pigment that is called chlorophyll, that eventually trap sunlight for the purpose of photosynthesis. So chlorophyll is the green pigment. So without the green pigment, you cannot talk about autotrophic nutrition. Now let's look at the second word, which is called heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition, on the other hand, is common in animals. In animals, all right? In animals, what they do is that cannot make food, make their food. They cannot make their food at all. Animals cannot make their food. So what do? They take in food. Or depend on other organisms. They take in food or they depend on other organisms. They take in food, and it's common in animals. So that means that if you look at this question back again here, it says organisms that carry out both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition is which of them? Basically, again, let's just understand this question again. Now, Chlamydomonas, of course, is an organism that we presented one time in one of my previous videos. Subscribe to Apex Biology. You see that Chlamydomonas as an organelle, as an organism here. Chlamydomonas, right? It has this structure that is called chloroplast. All right? And it has a layer around it. In that video I showed you, go to Apex Biology, you see what I'm talking about. It has a layer called cell wall. Now, Chlamydomonas uses this chloroplast for the purpose of what type of nutrition? autotrophic nutrition. So it cannot in any way carry out heterotrophic nutrition. The question is looking for the organism that carry out both autotrophic and heterotrophic. The second organism that comes up there is this one that is called Eudorina. Eudorina is actually a colony. It is an organism that exists as a colony, and that means that many cells held together, as a unit. That is what we call a colony. Now, apart from Eudorina that are made of many cells held together in a unit, most of them are actually algae in nature. They are algae in nature, and they belong to the group of organisms that we call the Talophyta. So definitely, when you look at them coming under Talophyta and they have their algae, and of course they are green in color, right? That means that since they are green in color, this organism that we call example of Eudorina, all right, can definitely carry out the process again of which type of nutrition? Autotrophic nutrition. So Eudorina cannot fall into that category. There are other organisms apart of Eudorina that exist as colony. Take note of that, because it can come up with other questions. Other examples of organisms that exist as colony, as I said, you have Eudorina, all right? There's another one they call Pandorina. There's another one they call Volvox, all right? All these organisms, you see, they are algae. They exist as colony. Definitely, because they are algae, they carry out autotrophic nutrition. I hope we are getting it. Our target is to understand and interpret other questions that can lead to this. Now, the next one is Euglena. Euglena is an organism that when you look at it, it has a shape like this. Look at that, my video. You notice that I show Euglena like this. Watch it and you see the complete label. Subscribe to our Apex Biology. It has this structure that is called flagellum that is used for movement. The same thing you find in Chlamydomonas, flagellum for movement. These are organelles that make them behave like animals, but the flagellum here cannot be used for feeding. It's only for movement. But something that is unique about Euglena is that it has a structure here that I'm going to label with the red marker, this cavity that is called gullet. That gullet is for food intake. Take note of that. It's for food intake. Since the gullet is for food intake, definitely this gullet is going to be used for which type of nutrition? It's going to be used for heterotrophic nutrition. So it has the feature of being able to carry out heterotrophic nutrition. Okay? So gullet is connected with heterotrophic nutrition. Let's look at the Chlamydomonas again. I mean the Euglena. It has a nucleus, definitely. Alright? It has a nucleus at the center there. But it has these structures that are here like this. If you look at that my video, this structure is called chloroplast. And from our discussion, chloroplast that produces chlorophyll will definitely be another structure that is used for the purpose of which type of nutrition? Autotrophic nutrition. Are we getting the answer to the question now? So you can see within one question, we are understanding additional things connected with this Euglena. Now Euglena, as you see, is a single cell, alright? This is Euglena now. This is Euglena, alright? And that is Chlamydomonas. Now let's look at Spirogyra. Spirogyra, of course, if you subscribe to my channel, you see where I drew the diagram of Spirogyra. It's a filamentous algae. Because it is an algae that is a filamentous one, if I'm to sketch Spirogyra here, you see that the filament looks like this. It has a filament, which if you check that video I presented, but what I want to show you now is that there are some spiral structures inside like this. Those spiral structures that are inside the filament that have some structures on their surfaces like this. The spiral structures are called chloroplasts. Definitely, since there is chloroplast and these structures here are called pyrenoid, those things that are circular. These pyrenoids, they actually store starch, alright? So the pyrenoid store starch, This chloroplast definitely is an organelle that definitely is used for which type of nutrition again? Autotrophic nutrition. So are we getting our answers now? So let's interpret the question now. With this, you see that to provide the answer to the question, the organism that carry out both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition, the answer definitely is not going to be Chlamydomonas at all. Chlamydomonas cannot fall as part of the answer because it only carry out autotrophic nutrition. The answer cannot be Eudorina because an algae that is colonial with Eudorina, Pandorina, and Volvox, and they are in colony, that cannot carry out autotrophic nutrition. The answer definitely is going to be what? Euglena. Euglena because it has a gullet for taking in food by heterotrophic nutrition and chloroplast for photosynthesis during autotrophic nutrition. Definitely it cannot be Spirogyra because Spirogyra has a filamentous chloroplast that produces, that carry out photosynthesis for the purpose of autotrophic nutrition. This is the reality of what we have presented today. So this is how we help you to know that it is easy to understand that within just one question, a lot of things can come out. Take note of this and use it as a guide for question number 7. These are areas that can assist you to provide answers to even theory questions so that you understand what we are really dealing with here. Now, the point I want to make now is that something unique I want to unleash is that these organisms you see that are listed here, especially this list of organisms, you can use them to understand forms of cell existence. I'm unleashing something here now. Forms of cell existence. If you look at it, some cells by their nature can exist as single or unicellular organisms. Single or unicellular organisms. From the list there, you can see that those cells that can exist as single or unicellular organism will fall into Chlamydomonas. All right? It will fall into Euglena, right? Euglena. It will also fall into other ones that we mentioned that are not here, like amoeba, all right? Like paramecium. These are organisms that exist as single units. Even we have, they are just unicellular. Even trypanosome, all right? Even plasmodium. You see what we are unleashing here? These are cells that you can say exist as single unicellular organism. Chlamydomonas, Euglena, amoeba, paramecium, trypanosome, plasmodium. Don't get it confused, okay? Now, the second thing we are going to unleash from understanding this question is that if we take a look at another thing is number 2, and that will be as filament. There are cells that exist as filaments. They are like threads. Filaments are things that look like threads. In this instance, our filament is no other than our example here given as Spirogyra. So write Spirogyra as a filamentous organism. Spirogyra in the form of filament. Another filament that you can think of apart from Spirogyra, in case it is brought out in exam, is called Oidogonium. Oidogonium are filamentous organisms. They are algae that lives in water and they do carry out autotrophic nutrition. The last group of organisms that in which forms cells exist is number 3, and that one is going to be as colonies, right? Cells existing as colony. From that you can see that they come as a whole complete unit of cells. When we say cells exist as colony, that's why I say there are many cells held together. And that structure that hold them together, that hold the filaments together, the colony together, is actually called gelatin. Alright? You can call it gelatin. Alright? Gelatin. Now, example of cells that exist as colony, based on what we have here, you can see their names. They come out easily as what? Eudorina, which was used in this question. You have another example as Pandorina, Pandorina, and the next example is called volvox. Remember, volvox have flagella or cilia that are like to move inside water. With this, you can see that from just question number 7 alone, we have unleashed to you the specific answer to the question. So this is how we provided answer to past question of WASSCE objective May June 2007 that can actually assist you to also provide answers to so many other things connected with the objective. So learn to subscribe at Aptest Biology so that I can get more. Our next series of questions will come with number 8 in the next video that you will see subsequently as we progress in our learning. Have a great day and bye for now.